Episode number 36. Hi, you're listening to the Careers Beyond Motherhood podcast with your host, Janine Esbrand. I'm here to help working mums like you to thrive in your careers and in motherhood. I share tips, strategies, and inspirational conversations with awesome women to help reduce the struggle in your juggle.
Time for Say Mummy.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's awesome to be back with you today. And I'm really excited because we are about to kick off a new series. And the series is going to showcase women who are creating their own flexibility at work. Unfortunately, not every employer is as accommodating as we would like when it comes to flexible working for mothers. And so there are some women who decide that they are going to create their own flexibility. They choose not to return to their corporate job and instead they launch their own business so that they can create a lifestyle that allows them to spend the time that they want with their children and also build and grow a business. So we're going to be talking to a number of different business owners who decided to start their own business, and we're going to be speaking to people who are at different stages of their business journey, and we're going to learn from them how they went about launching their business, the challenges that they faced, and they're going to share guidance and tips for those of you out there who are thinking about going down that route. So first up, I'm going to be interviewing a branding expert and coach who helps business owners to get seen and heard above all of the noise. She is a mother of 3, and in this episode we talk about boundaries, about business and about branding, and we have a great conversation about her journey and how she manages her business around her busy family life as a mother of 3. So without further ado, let's jump in as I interview Gwen Klisa. Hi Gwen, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It is amazing to have you here with us. Please, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Yes, sure. Hi. Firstly, thanks for inviting me. And yeah, I'm Gwen and I'm a business coach. I help small business owners create a really good brand and message for them so that they can attract the right audience into their business.
Awesome. That sounds interesting. Definitely something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So the way that I like to start with our guests is for you to tell me a bit about what your career looked like before motherhood. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm a professional brand designer, graphic designer. I've worked here in London for maybe 12, 15 years as a up to creative lead. I've really worked myself up from doing all the Photoshop, Illustrator work to doing campaigns and the big thinking. And I wasn't really happy to be that constrained with my holiday and to always work for other people. I really need that freedom. So after I had my second child, I've got 3 in total, I just decided it was the right moment for me to quit my job. And it was a big thing. And of course, everybody thinks it's a big thing. And it was. So yeah, I've just done that step.
And how old are your little ones?
Oh God, they're not. You're 10, 8, and yeah, they're in school. So I'm through the bad patch, I guess. So they're 10, 8, and 5.
Oh, awesome! So they're quite close together, though.
Yeah.
So when you decided to take the plunge and say, okay, I'm going to start my own business, what kind of challenges did you face initially?
I mean, firstly, that fear, to push through that fear. I guess many people have that, and you just need to just grasp the opportunity. And I really felt it was the moment now because I just finished maternity leave and I was like, I don't want to go back. During maternity leave, I already started working on my own business. So I just said, I'm going to continue that. And of course, the main challenge is that the business setup, I don't have my own office. I don't have a door that I can close. I've got a big room here with the kids. I mean, I only work when the kids are not here. My next step would be maybe to get my own place somewhere, but to really get those boundaries in place between family and work, that was the main challenge. And also having the kids and having 3, I think there's always somebody wanting something from me. And of course I try to give them whatever I can. So that's a big thing as well. And in my head, I really need to put boundaries.
Yeah, I think what you said is absolutely correct. So, and when I speak to people who are wanting to launch their own businesses and not go back to corporate, one of the things that they say is they want more flexibility and they want to have more autonomy. But actually, sometimes when you build your business, you can build it in a way that doesn't always allow you to have the flexibility that you're seeking. So it's important to create boundaries and realize that yes, you are in charge. So you have to set those boundaries, especially if you've got
Yes,
little ones at home and you're trying to do everything around them as well.
exactly. But also, I guess being a bit realistic about, or personally, I don't think like this 4-week work week kind of thing it really exists. And you may know as well, probably you work in the evenings or any moment you can get you need to do something. And having your own business, it's so rewarding and I can recommend it. But there will be a lot of work that we can't even foresee. That's
Absolutely.
from my perspective.
Absolutely. I think the 4-hour work week is something you can get to not straight away and only if you're willing to delegate things out. But when you're starting and trying to get everything done yourself, if there's I'm totally with you. With building my coaching business, I'm always on. I'm doing something. I've got something to do.
Yes.
And so
Yeah, now that you're saying it, maybe I need to have things ticking over way more. Maybe that will be one day I've got everything just ticking and it will be a 4-hour day and I'll be just delegating. Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
the dream.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So now that you work for yourself, how do you manage kind of the demands of motherhood and the demands of your business? So we talk a lot about work-life balance and finding that once you're going back to your career after motherhood. So what does that look like for you with 3 children?
Yeah, and it's such an important thing to keep in mind because firstly, I always, when I get really caught up in the whole business needs, I really sometimes take a step back as well to see how urgent things are and really be super efficient with what tasks I'm gonna action, for example. Yeah, again, being realistic, and when it's half term and all the moms with kids not in school yet will find once the kids are in school there will be long holidays. So when it's half term, when it's holiday, we do clubs, but I just block out time where I know I won't be having a launch and I won't be able to go to a conference and all that. I will only be able to maybe do early mornings, which is tough, of course. And I know many people do it. Many parents probably do it and some other high achievers. But yeah, you get up really early or you'd work late nights. But that's how it will look, and be realistic about the holiday times.
Yeah, that's a good point, to be realistic about the changes in season. So sometimes there might be a period where you're really busy with work and family takes a bit of a back seat, but then there's other times where work is going to take a back seat because you have to focus on your family. And that's something that I share with women who not only are in their own businesses, but they go back to corporate, like, and feel guilty about not being home. I say to them, instead of looking at your one day or your one week, look at, the month or the quarter and look at how much time you've been spending at home or with your family, so that you've got the work-life integration going. So you're not always trying to find the balance all the time, because that's where you start to get unstuck when you're trying to make everything work all of the time.
That's actually a great way of looking at it. And I guess just internally, somehow I've not said it like that, but thought like that. And once I kind of figured that out, I felt much better. But yeah, now you're saying it, it's clear. And just look at the big picture again. Yeah,
absolutely. So tell me a bit about your blog. So I know that you do a blog around personal branding, which looks awesome. And I had a look, and I'm excited about all that you're doing. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, I'm, like I said, after I did not go back to being a corporate creative lead and doing design for others and other brands, I've decided to coach and help small business owners find their own brand and message. And I thought, how can I really get to know people and also introduce people to the world and really show, because I know people like talking about other people and reading about how others do things. So I thought it would be a nice idea to show my audience how other business owners' personality shapes their business, because that's really what personal brand is. And that's what I've done with that blog. So that's good fun. Love it.
Oh, that's awesome. So how does your business work? So alongside the blog, what other services do you provide? So you can tell us a bit about about
Yeah,
that?
I've got an online course which I live teach and train, and I do day intensive, and I've got private clients where we really get to the bottom of their message so they can grow their business authentically and really, really fast as well once they've got all that worked out. Because
Yeah.
I know that's another thing I felt as a business owner. When you start out, all business owners, of course, you don't know everything. And if you have other people helping you, showing you steps, at least that will go much smoother. And that's all the time you're saving that's really being taken away otherwise from your family time. And I really felt I wanted to help people with that. And I had another business for a while, which was a kids sleep app. And there I was really struggling because I didn't have any help. And it was a depressing time, actually, that time of my life.
Yeah.
When my last one was just born and my kids didn't go to sleep. So I just wanted to make that app and didn't get any help. And that really ate into, family time, I guess.
Yeah, so it's important to kind of have those boundaries around what you're creating as well. And yeah, it's very different when your children are like first born, that what you can get done is so different to even when they're one. So my daughter right now, she's 1, but when she was a newborn, I could like be feeding her, or she'd be sleeping on me and I could be on the laptop. And like now I cannot do anything. Like she just pulls the wires, she tries to eat everything. It's just so difficult to get anything done with her around. So
yes, exactly. That will get better once she's 8 or so, I guess. Or some kids earlier, they just play by themselves and they are happy and they don't need you as much. But now the 2-3-year-olds, they just need that attention.
But the thing is, what I remind myself all the time is that they're only this age for a short time. So when my son is wanting my attention and acting up, I have to say, okay, let me just pay you attention because that's what you want right now. And so we have to remember that we're building businesses, but in the long term, children are growing up as well. So we want to be paying that attention to both sides.
That is exactly the balance that needs to be found. And just thinking that the time passes so quickly, that was always in the back of my mind, but it also made me also really, really guilty for a long time. But it's good because you don't want to forward 10 years and then say, God, what have I been doing? Who are these people there in my house? It's difficult. And I wonder if we as women, it's just us thinking that, or I guess the men don't really think about that so much.
I think my husband, he's a thinker. So he often says like, oh, look at this little boy, he's growing up so fast, he's not going to be this age forever. So I think he does take it on board, but I guess it's different. He sees him as his little sidekick who's growing up too fast.
Sweet.
So some of the women who listen to this podcast are thinking about maybe starting their own business. So what are some tips that you could give as a branding expert, as a coach for like getting started? Do you have like 3 tips that you would say, look, do these things when you're first starting?
Yeah. First, don't overthink your brand. First thing is to test your business idea. Don't be, okay, these are lots of tips now, but this is kind of related. So don't overthink the brand. Make sure you've got a sound tested idea first before you really overthink the name, the logo, and all that. It needs to all happen at the same time. So you will see things that your product is selling well, and together with your ideal customer who's buying your product, you will develop that brand and that message. But of course, it's like a catch-22, because just don't waste too much time on logos and all that. Secondly, I would say get help. There's so many people who've been there before, and it's easy to follow the tips and the steps of them. And you can, there's so much free online, and there's so much help out there and support from other business owners. That is extremely important. And the third tip would be resilience, I think. I guess it takes a long time to get that traction and to keep getting up, and you don't need to compare yourself. You just need to buckle down and do it and keep working at it with a really level head.
Yeah. Oh, those are brilliant tips. Absolutely brilliant tips.
Yeah, I learned them the hard way.
Yeah, I know. I think for me, just the kind of branding thing is really important, because I think that you can spend a lot of time on like the website. Like I built my website myself and like spent hours and hours on it and doing
Yes.
your logo. You can get the branding done, and then you can decide, actually I want to go in a different direction. So it's really
Yes.
important for you to figure out like what it is you're actually doing and be getting the traction with the clients that will then help you to shape where you're going with the branding. But everyone wants to focus on making it look pretty and nice, but we need to do the core stuff first.
Yes. I mean, of course, I'm also the first person who will say big brands, they spend millions every year on their branding and messaging. And they don't do that for fun. They do that because they know that's the way where they should be spending their money. But still, I see people, they just don't ever get started because they don't know what their name should be, their logo should be. So I would see it as imagine you're trying to sell lemonade. So you just think, I make my lemonade in a way that in a special recipe, and I go downstairs with a cardboard sign and try to sell the first one. And then I speak to the first person and say, oh, do you like this lemonade? And what do you think of the name? And that way I would start out really minimum viable product, really beta. Yeah. Also with a brand. And then from that you get your first customer and you see who buys it, and you will be more and more tailoring. That's how I would do it. But yes, you can never spend enough too much money on branding and messaging, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's good advice in terms of like just getting out there and getting going. And I think it applies equally like to the ladies that are listening who are not starting their own business, but they're thinking about maybe changing careers. It's the same thing. Like you can go out and try things. Like you can perhaps volunteer somewhere to see whether or not you would like to do that new type of job, or you can speak to someone who's already doing it to find out from them, what does it actually mean to be that type of person in that type of role. And so you can get out there instead of just staying thinking, because the answers don't come from your head if you don't have the insight. And you're only going to get the insight from getting out there and talking to people and engaging with either a potential employer or a potential role or a potential client. So I definitely say go out and take some action.
I agree. Totally sound advice. Yes. And it's so difficult to follow this kind of advice because
I know
everybody has a perfectionist in them. And
so just switching gears a little bit. So can you tell us a little bit about how you, in terms of motherhood and how you've adjusted to motherhood and how motherhood might have changed you? Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah. So I was, it's a big question.
I know.
It has changed me a lot. Firstly, I'm much more focused. I know now the time I have is precious. The hours I have is really, focusing me to get down and do things and get on with business, with my life, and not mess around anymore. Which I guess when you have more time and nobody to take care of, it's easier to forget that. So that really changed me. And I've become much more sensible. So I'm really organized and sensible. And I would say, yes, much more than I used to be. How has it changed you? You're just fresh. I guess for me, this has been with me 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's not a, it's just in me now. I guess when I was new, it was also a big thing to find my identity, lose my identity. I guess I was struggling with that as well, that suddenly you're not Janine anymore. You're suddenly a new person with a little one attached to you. And that can be tough. But I think for everybody in that situation, I would say deep down, nobody's going to change. You're just going to change. You need to do a bit more work now.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think at first the whole, like, even when you meet somebody and you haven't seen for a while, they automatically go and kiss the baby and say hello to the baby and say, how's the baby? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, thanks, I'm doing all right. So that, and people referring to you as, like, my son's name's Eli, so Eli's mummy, it at first is kind of lovely, but then you're like, what about me?
That's right.
It was nice to get back to work actually and just be me again and be referred to as me. But I think ultimately one of the big changes was me realizing that I can't control everything, and that I'm not following the blueprint and not sleeping and not doing the things that he's supposed to do. I realized that I could either stress about it or I could just realize that, he's going to do things in his own time. And so I think realizing that not everything can be planned, because I'm such a planner.
Yeah, no, that
was a key thing for me.
that is no, that's a good one as well. Yeah, you cannot, and there's so many people telling you how things should be and how others are doing it, and you just have to find your own way. Yeah,
Absolutely. So I am a big fan of kind of inspirational quotes and sayings that I like to hold on to. So do you have any, like, an inspirational quote or saying that you like that you could speak about?
I've come across one that I liked. I've come across it on Instagram. I think it's a hashtag. It's called "The rising tide lifts all the boats."
I love that.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah, that really calmed me down. It's like, yeah, right. Actually,
I came across that before. There's a lady called Natalie Lucier, and
is she doing that? Okay, yes.
She did like a list building challenge, and every day at the end of the challenge she would talk about the fact that the rising tide would lift all boats, and talk about coming together and collaborating with other people, which I think is lovely, because it's so important to network and have a good network, and know that working together you can all like progress, as opposed to thinking about competing with other people.
Yes, I think that would be one of my basic business tips as well.
Yeah, to just collaborate and look for opportunities to work.
And that feeds into the resilience, because you will be much less stressed and feeling you need to shape up for your business, and there's always somebody ahead of you, but that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So can you tell us where people can find you? So if they want to learn more about your blog, the branding work that you do, share with us where they can find you.
So I've got a really active and buzzing Facebook group, which you can find if you go to Gwen Klisa on Facebook. I guess you're putting a link somewhere underneath.
Yes, I'll put all the links.
And the website is gwendiklisa.com. That's GwendiKlisa.com. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. So I will put the link to those so people can go and check you out. So if they are getting started with their business and want some help with branding, they can absolutely come.
Yes, we'd love to have you.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It's been awesome interviewing you.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure.
It's great to speak to Gwen about her journey and about how business owners should be approaching their branding. So if you are thinking about getting started with the business, or you're growing your business, then her tips are definitely going to be useful for you. If you want to connect with Gwen and learn more about her work, I will be sharing the links to her website in the show notes. So if you head over to lightboxcoaching.com/episode-36, then you can grab the links there. I would love to hear what your key takeaways have been from this episode. So why not head over to the Careers Beyond Motherhood community, which is our free private Facebook group, our little corner of the internet where we discuss all things careers and motherhood related. So we have over 200 women in the group connecting daily, and it would be awesome to have you join us. So head over to Facebook and just search for the Careers Beyond Motherhood community and request to join while we're still accepting new members. Okay, I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about the Careers Beyond Motherhood Collective. Now, this is our monthly paid membership, which is for women who want to dig deeper when it comes to building their careers beyond motherhood. For the women who know that they want to make a change, but they need some support and accountability to make that change in their career. So whether you are looking to launch or grow your business, or you are looking to change direction in your career, the Careers Beyond Motherhood Collective can really help. We opened the doors to founding members last month, and it has been awesome to welcome the ladies in and see them really set their intentions around their careers and then already start to make progress towards those goals. So if you as a podcast listener would like to join as a founding members, the doors are open again until the 31st of August, and you can come in and get the support, coaching and guidance that you need to really help you to thrive in your career and motherhood. The doors are going to close on the 31st of August, and they won't open again until November, when I launch this to the general public. So if you want to grab your spot as a founding member, then I would encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. You can head over to lightboxcoaching.com/the-collective to grab your space. if you are liking this podcast, please do share and spread the word amongst your mum friends. If you have colleagues who you think would benefit from hearing what we talk about on the podcast, please do share with them. And also head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review, because that helps more women just like you to find the show and join in the conversation. All right, that's all from me today. I will be back again next week sharing with you an interview with another awesome business owner as part of the Creating Your Own Flexibility series. Until then, look after you and look after your babies. This podcast features music from Sound.